doing? I'd like to welcome you to Starving the System, the live internet TV show that empowers you with information that would allow you to break free from anything that wants to take your money, lock you up, and make you sick. I am your host today. Many of you know me, my Rock Hill, Warner Hills, Port City, Twitter, Facebook community knows me at E, so I'm going to let you call me the same thing. With us today, we have, this is a special privilege, we have Chief Master Marlin Sims. And I'd like to just bow and shake your hand.
Yeah, my pleasure, all mine.
It's a pleasure to have you, sir. And what we're going to do is we're going to basically, this is going to be an intro to self-defense. And this is just the first installment. We're going to have the master come back when he can and follow up on us and see where we at. Before we go into it, I just want to let you know who this gentleman is that we're talking about right here. I'm just going to read something. He is the president and founder of United Martial Science Federation. He's a 9th degree black belt, one of the first of 3 non-Asians to attain master level in the martial arts of Kuk Sool. He's trained in the martial arts since the age of 10. He's toured nationally, internationally since 1985. He's appeared on many local, regional, international television and radio shows. He's been in national, international publications demonstrating his much sought-after knowledge of joint manipulation, the use of Korean-style weapons, and is it pronounced hyung?
Hyung.
Hyung.
Or just form.
Form, which is body motion. He's distinguished himself by winning many major martial arts tournaments and championships in sparring forms, weapons, and self-defense. He's a former Master Instructor for the U.S. Military Academy at West Point from 1991 to 1999. He's now relocated in Atlanta, Georgia, which he has made his home, and we should be very thankful. I'm very grateful that he did make this home so we can have him on this show today. So it's a pleasure to have you. He has too many accolades for me to go through the list of because it'll take our whole show up. He's really, he's a very accomplished man, one of the few of in our community that has reached the level that he's had. So I just want to congratulate you and say thank you again.
Thank you, my pleasure.
So, bro, if you don't mind, could you just give us a quick rundown and it's just in your words, what is martial arts?
Martial means military. Art, I like the term martial science as opposed to martial art. Because in the art you take a blank canvas and you create something from nothing. You got a blank canvas, you may draw a picture, a person, a flower, and you created this. Same thing with art. You know, a lot of people create their own styles. But science, martial, when I was at West Point, was military science. A martial science. Martial means military. So the same physical laws that governs the movement of an object through space are the same laws that governs our body. You know, a lot of times we expect someone to give us a secret word we can float through a keyhole. That's not going to happen. You know, a lot of times we hear people talk about the key finger, the Buddha palm,
right?
How I open the palm, how to transfer a key. But a lot of that has to do with muscle recruitment. Like for example, shake my hand.
Okay.
Give me a man side shake. Shake it hard and firm.
Okay.
So you're shaking my hand. What fingers are you using?
Right now, shaking your hand, I'm using my bottom.
Right, and I can remove your index finger. It's not even gripping me.
Right.
Now, grip me with your index finger. Hard. That means now I can take your baby pinky and your ring finger and remove those off my hand. Because what happens when you point your index finger, it says, okay, you can use your power side of your hand because you have a power side and you have an artistic side. So if you use a pencil or paint, then you use an artistic side. It tells the power side to shut down. We don't need you. If you grip something using a hammer or a pair of pliers, it tells the artistic side to shut down. So if you need to grip something, I want to grip you, I will use my last 3 fingers, see, to grip. So that makes the arm a lot stronger, the hand to grip. But if I use my index finger, I couldn't. But if I point my index finger, use my last 3 fingers, I can what? I can apply pressure to your bone.
Yes, he can.
So again, there's a science behind everything that we do. So do we understand the science behind a particular movement? You know, for another example is that the shoulder has 6 basic movements. The scapula has another 6. So there's 12 movements in the shoulder girdle together. For every 1 degree that your glenohumeral human joint moves, your scapula has to move 2. So normally you can only get your hand 9 degrees. but because you can move the scalpel, you get another 90, so you get 180 degree movement.
You were telling me something we talked before about your arm being similar to a bullwhip too.
Right.
I want to stop real quick and just ask everybody who's already tuned in, please tell someone about the show right now. Stop and text somebody, call somebody, Facebook somebody, Twitter somebody. Tell them that Starving the System, we're having a self-defense introduction to self-defense with Chief Master Marlin Sims on, and let everybody know about this. We want as many people as we can to get in and see this demonstration, because you don't get to see a man like this, ever, and so for our community to have him on it's tremendous pleasure. So please tell somebody what's going on and let them know what's happening. So I just want to go back to that. So you explain what martial arts is. So self-defense. When you think self-defense, what when somebody says they want to learn self-defense, what is that? What does that entail? Is that the same as martial arts, self-defense?
It kind of, I don't teach self-defense.
Okay.
Because self-defense is limited.
Okay.
I like to say I teach martial arts based, because in an art it has defense and attack. Self-defense means if you attack me, I just defend myself. That's it.
Right.
And if I have an opening, I don't attack. So self-defense means it's just a defense mechanism. But martial arts has both attack and defense.
Okay. And sometimes if somebody's attacking you, you want to be able to get them off. If you just defending yourself, right, they can still keep attacking you. And another thing is, you have a school out you have one school in Fayetteville, I believe, and you have another school in College Park.
Yes.
So you are in the community. So for those of you in Atlanta, he does have a school out here, and it's for kids as early as 4 years old.
Right.
From 4 to 12 is the kids. Yeah. I believe the kids, and then 13 up is for the adults.
Adult class.
Okay, and real quickly, what is you founded what is called a United
Martial Science.
The United Martial Science Federation or Foundation. I'm sorry. So what is that?
Well, I use the word united because I want to unite all martial arts. Martial, military way. Science, because we want to look at it from a scientific perspective, not just because somebody says something. Federation is a group of people that come together that has some common goal or unity, but there's a central command, but they still have some autonomy or control over their own destiny. I want to run my school. I'm not going to bother you running your school. That's your business. It's
right.
my business. So a lot of martial art organizations want to tell you what to do and how to do it. Most Asians attain black belts in 18 months. Most Americans take like 4 or 5 years, maybe 6 years to get a black belt. I think something wrong with that picture.
Yeah, I was about to say, are we slower?
That's I guess what they're trying to tell us. But if we understand the movements or the science behind something, then it's much easier.
And a lot of that's not being taught.
Not being taught.
The science behind it.
They're teaching us how to dance for the most part. I can go to an aerobics class or a Zumba class and do that if I wanted to.
Right.
I don't need that to help me, because anytime you pick up a leg to kick somebody, you have a balance problem. You only have one leg, so how do you stabilize? Again, we're talking about the arm being like that of a bullwhip.
Right.
And you have like summation of forces that says anytime that there's a series of levers or joints that are involved in a movement, the lever joint with the largest inertia or mass has to move first. So in the kinematic chain of the upper extremity, you have the shoulder is the largest, the elbow is the next largest, the wrist is the smallest and the fastest moving in that sequence. So if I throw a punch, if I chamber my hand on my hip, to move it, the first thing it has to do is my shoulder has to move.
Right.
Elbow doesn't move yet. Now when the arm gets parallel to the body, now the elbow has to move in order to keep my fist on track to you. Now after the point of impact, I want to rotate my wrist, but I want to keep my elbow down. Now I intentionally didn't bring a partner or a student of mine. Everybody knows you. As a student of mine, that's what things that I did to him that it was pre-planned.
Right.
This is my first time even meeting you. Am I right or wrong?
This is our first time meeting in the flesh. We talked briefly yesterday, and that's another thing. I got this brother took time out of his schedule. He teaches classes to come out in just one day because he saw what we're doing in Starving the System, and he wanted to help out. So I can't just thank him enough. He gets paid big money for his time. So for him to be here, man, I just, like I say, all praise is due. So thank you for that. So,
well, if we go back and look at when you stand up, your ankle, your knee, your hip, your lower back, and your shoulders all in alignment.
Right.
So if we hit something, we must maintain alignment. You know, Bruce Lee started this thing with a 1-inch punch, and it just took off like wildfire. But no one has ever explained how the 1-inch punch works, and everybody think that this is something that's miracle. And
or subject to him.
A subject to him.
Right.
And it's only like if your arm is here, this is what we call protraction and retraction. So that's all you're doing. And you can always do a one-armed shoulder shrug or something like that. So if I put an arm on you, I can easily push you around without having to move.
That was not fake.
So now, if you follow the summation of forces principle I just stated,
right?
Now take the stomach tight. So if I move my hand here, right, and hit you,
okay.
See, the elbow hadn't even moved yet.
Then that was hard punch.
So if I hit again, push see, then it has a lot of impact and force only because I line my body up. If you don't line the body, if I bend my joint here, and I can hit you all day. Okay. That sounds good. I'm not gonna hurt you. See? That sounds good. But if I lock this leg and hit you, then
I can't take too much of that time.
Give me a big hand out there in TV land.
Oh my goodness.
So the impact is much greater because Newton's third law of motion says what? For every force there's an opposite but equal reaction. So when body one, which is me, pushes on body two, which is you, body two pushes back with equal and opposite force.
Correct.
So how much do you weigh?
I weigh 190 pounds.
190 pounds. So Newton's first law says what? A body at rest or a body in motion remains at rest or in motion except when acted upon by an outside force. Right. So I got to produce a force greater than your body weight, 190 pounds, in order to initiate the movement.
I'm quite sure he just did that, by the way.
And I'm only 170 pounds wet. So these ideas of impact, if we hit something, then the time factor is important. How long do you stay with something? You know, that's a difference between a push and a hit, like a car collision. Cars hit and they collide. So, excuse me, come over here a little bit. If I hit you like this, see, does that hurt?
No.
Because my hand is, how long is my hand in contact with your body? It's a long time.
Right.
So the time factor, but if I hit you like this, woo, see, that's a short time factor.
That's power.
It tends to hurt more because it's less time. Same thing, you hit a person over the head with a pillow, the pillow deforms in shape to the person's head.
Right.
So it's in contact a longer time. I hit you in the head with a 2x4, it bounces off. It hurts more because it bounced off. So it depends on which part of the body that you hit. If I hit you in the arm or I hit you on a knuckle, which is harder surface, you know, the type of force or type of hit that you would use would be a little bit different.
I'm not gonna cry, D Mays. Okay, I'm not gonna cry. I refuse to on live internet TV. And Rob, thanks for coming out, man. I appreciate you.
So all those things as far as hitting is important. How do you lock a joint? So we have to understand the human body and its movement. Like for example, torque cannot move around a 90-degree angle. So if I take your arm like this and I twist it, what happens?
I move with it.
You move and you rotate. Now I take this hand in your hand and supinate up to the ceiling, right? It faces the ceiling. I'm not going to change anything about the angle of your arm. I'm not going to put any more extra torque on it.
Right.
I can make your elbow take a 90-degree angle. That hurts.
Yes.
Inside that 90, it doesn't hurt you anymore.
Right.
If I come back to this 90, it hurts again.
Yes, it does.
All I need to do now is twist a little bit, and you got a broke arm. So all the stuff, like you see a technique like this, a person going the arm, and he put it behind the back, this is overkill.
That's just for pretty. That's
pretty.
fun.
So
okay.
if you understand joint manipulation, we can take one finger here and take a person down, because each joint has a limited range of movement. And when twisted beyond that limited range of movement, incapacitates the opponent, a would-be assassin. So it's really having an in-depth knowledge of anatomy, kinesiology, biomechanics, physics, all that kind of stuff that we use to strike and hit with.
Now, do you have a book or DVD out?
I have some DVDs out. I'm in the process. I've written a book. I just hadn't published it.
Okay.
Because I just think some things are just not meant to be published.
Oh, well, that's definitely true. So he does have a book out yet, or he may not put out a book. He does have some DVDs, but you might need to come to the class if you really want to get an in-depth knowledge. Because I know one thing, I used to try to, when I used to put in the martial arts magazines, the step-by-step things and everything. Man, it's so hard to get that stuff without having somebody and a real instructor to really guide you through that. So it's kind of difficult to really get the point unless you are already drenched in martial arts already. So I just wanted to say that also.
So how do you make your body strong to do martial arts? That's the most important thing. So I can take Edwin's finger here and I can now what's good for the goose is good for the gander. Venom, go ahead. I know you had your Wheaties this morning. I'm harder. Really try. Now don't make them out there in TV land think you playing.
I swear, I'm trying hard as I can with my fist. The most
important thing, if you train, how do you make your fingers strong enough, to injure a person? Or if I want to hit him, with my thumbs, how do I do that? See, I'm not. People understand if I pull my hand back to hit you, they say, "Oh, he went home again. He really gonna hit it."
Right, but he didn't just do that.
If I just hit, that's all I need. Or if he punts,
okay.
How to hit just from this close in range without doing anything. So the most important thing, you don't have a time to pull your fist back. For example, we're gonna hit each other on the chest like this. Just tap each other on the chest. Ready?
All right.
Almost count of 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. See, every time I pull my hand back and touch myself, you hit me. So if that's a person stabbing you with a knife or coming at you with a knife and you pull your hand back to hit them, the knife is already in at your body. So you don't ever have an opportunity to pull your hand back in a real fight to hit anybody. So if I'm here, hit me. I just hit you. Hit me. I'm just going to hit you.
Right.
Why pull my hand back?
Right. So being in shape to perform these things is probably the number one thing, because I could not just bend his 2 fingers with my whole fist. I'm not a weakling. I work out. Some of y'all be in the gym with me and see I pull up. I do all those things. So I'm not a weakling. I cannot move his 2. And these aren't the 2 strong fingers. These are supposed to be. Anyway. So yeah.
So martial arts is about conditioning. I trained to take a beating, not to give one out. Ali proved that with rope-a-dope.
That's a very good point, what he just said right there, if anybody just heard that. Could you repeat that one more time for them?
I trained to take a beating. Because once you get through beating on me and you're tired, then it's my turn. Now, can you take my beating?
I don't think I can take his beating. I'm trying to tell you.
And that's
you probably can take mine pretty good, though. Yeah, that makes perfect sense. I've never heard that, but that makes perfect sense.
So when you look at martial arts, self-defense is like I say it's only defending,
right.
But martial arts has both attack and defense. So you want to study the entire gamut of combat, not just one aspect of it. So the most important thing about martial arts, you have to understand the principles and theories that governs that particular skill. And martial arts is no different, or I like to say martial science is no different than any other activity. First
science is tried, tested, and proven. So it works. You know what you're doing actually works.
Right.
You don't have to guess.
So even when you talk about impact, you got to look at Newton's 3 laws of motion. Then you have to take it to quantum physics. Because what is a quasar? A quasar is a pocket of energy. When you explode it, it explodes other pockets of energy around it. So if I hit you right here, this cell bumps into other cells, and that's the reason why we can feel this impact of this shock wave through the body. So a lot of things have to be understood. It's just not that you can just do hitting a martial arts kind.
They're asking you if your hands are considered deadly weapons. Let me just say, I don't know what the actual law says, but I'm going to say his hands are considered a deadly weapon.
Well,
my body's saying that.
A lot of people say you have to raise your hands once you become a black belt. You do not.
That's not true. That's
not true. But if I get into a fight, then the law will hold me to a higher standard.
Because then you know what you can do.
Because of my level of training. Basically, if a person pulls a knife on you, threatens you, you can't defend yourself against that knife until he's actually in a downstroke.
Wow.
So you can't. That's just a threat. unless he's in a downstroke, then it's certain things. So you have to look at the law. The law says there has to be a parity of force. That force which was equal to, but not greater than. Like, so if you snatch my wallet, I can't take a chair and hit you in the head.
Right.
Or kick you or whatever. That force has to be equal to, but not greater than the force that you produce. And
that's when you get in subduing and stuff like that.
Right.
Okay.
Even if I hit you and I'm beating you up and I turn around and walk off and then you attack me, I broke the attack off. Now you have an assault charge against you because you attacked me.
Now that's interesting. I didn't realize that. So if you get your behind whipped, you gotta let it go once he get off of you.
Right.
According to the law, anyway.
So you have to become familiar with laws in different states and understand what they require in a self-defense mode. Because you can always have a professional witness come in and refute what you say, and then you'll be held to that particular standard. But the idea of martial arts is a martial science is being able to circumvent, and a lot of times we learn joint locking as a means to understand how the body works, because a combative fighter is not, you're not going to be able to really joint lock them. And for non-resistance or passive resistance people, you can do joint locks, but you have to understand the body well enough how to take it apart, in order to get him off of you. But you don't do anything that you can't undo. You don't dislocate a joint if you can't relocate it. You don't break a bone unless you can reset that bone, and you don't take anyone's life unless you can give life. So if you can't undo it, you basically don't want to do it.
Okay, that's a big responsibility that comes with what you know.
Right. So
I know one thing too also is that, like you said, you have to be in shape for this right here. And one of the things you do is you have a raw food diet.
Right.
And how long have you had a raw food diet?
I've been on a raw food diet for probably the last 12, maybe 13 years.
Could you we were talking on the phone, could you just briefly say, give them some of the things that you've done that you can contribute to having a disciplined body? You were telling me about some injuries that occurred to you.
Yeah. What the audience can't see, but I'm gonna let you see my Achilles tendon. About 15 years in England.
I would say the right one is much bigger than the left one.
Right. I ripped it completely off the bone. It's a complete rip, tear off the bone, and
Achilles tendon torn off the bone. We know if you watch football and basketball, you know that's 6 months out. That's the season, man.
Right.
That's the season. If that happens to a football, basketball player, that's the season.
And I knew if I put it in plantar flexion, just let it relax, it would heal itself. Because while in my mother's womb, you're just a clump of cells, right? But the cells know where to grow, how to, where is their origin and their insertion, where to attach and where to grow to attach. So I just rested, put it in plantar flexion. 6 weeks I was healed. Never had surgery.
Never had surgery for a torn off the bone Achilles. I don't even know if y'all can get how big that is, but that's incredible. And it's not like he's not like he has something special with him that you don't have, that you can't do the same thing. Like he was saying, we block our own healing by the impurities that we partake of.
Right.
Food being the main villain. So that's just incredible in itself. So that's just the power of your body if you are disciplined enough to treat yourself how you should.
And my thing is, life can only come from life. You can't get life from a dead food or the energy. When we kill an animal, it's dead. There's no life force. We can use the protein and stuff to sustain ourselves, but it's not really going to give us a real big food.
Hey, D, he wouldn't be on the show, man, if he wasn't deep, man. You already know how we do it, and that's the thing. What he's basically telling us, man, is it's a holistic picture. You can't come in. It's not just. That's not what it's about. You know what I'm saying? It's not. You may go into some of these dojos, and that might be what they show you, and never explain the physics behind that punch like he just did, and you'll be and that's what you'll be subject to. So that's why I wanted to have this brother on, because he's basically telling you have to know yourself
Right.
You have to know the body. That's the basics of it all. Know thyself. Know what laws govern motion, movement, gravity, and so forth. And that's what he's basically trying to. That's what he's explaining to us right now.
Because we go back to the hand strength. Your hand hangs all day in a weightless environment. You don't put any pressure on it. So most times when we see people with arthritic hands or conditions, because the hand just atrophies. It gets no work. So just by exercise,
that's a new word for starving the system. Atrophies. I don't know what that means, but as you use it in a sentence, it just must mean just do nothing.
Do nothing. Just go to waste.
Okay.
Atrophies. We don't exercise it.
Okay.
If you do finger push-ups and stuff like that, you begin to the fingers bear weight. It has to accept the load, and then they develop. So your hands are like anything else, any other muscle in your body. The thenar, the hypothenar, interstitial muscles in the hand. They need to be trained. So if you train them, they grow. The bones get thicker because they're bearing weight. That's the difference between dropping the hand on something and compressing the bone structure, forcing it to grow, or hitting it and bruising it and causing a bone spur. When you look at a lot of martial arts, they have these big black calluses on their knuckles.
Right. And
they're very proud to show their calluses. Calluses is a soft, fleshy kind of tissue compared to bone. And calluses never break anything. It's the bone structure that breaks. So the bone has to be dense, not the skin.
And they talked about that some on I think that show is it something is it Body Science or something where all the martial arts they hook them to computers and study their motion, and they're finding that they define what traditionally is being taught.
Right.
That their bones are being actually have more calcium there, and all that stuff. So they're starting to see what you guys have always known. They're actually starting to show it through science, and that's why I think it's so important.
Several years ago, I discovered a technique when I was quite young. Only involves two fingers. It only takes two fingers to hurt a human body. That doesn't take. So if you understand how to condition, I can take these two fingers and hit at any point. I can, just pop a brother around. But It only takes two fingers. So if you take, support the finger, and we say bulldoze or this clavicle bone, I'm not gonna hurt because you broke it before.
Thank you.
If I can take those fingers.
Okay.
Now I can actually put him behind his clavicle, and I can what? Just push.
Push.
Enter his thoracic cavity.
Uncle.
At the same time, I can actually grab that clavicle bone. I can dislocate it. But that takes a certain amount of finger strength to be able to do that.
Yeah.
So can you get a good shot of that?
Yeah, no, they can't get a shot because I'm too tensed up.
Right. So what's important is that we understand how to actually strengthen the hand, because this is basically your weapon and your feet. So how do you make the bones and stuff strong in the hand and stuff?
Is age a problem with learning?
No. And when we say age, again, I teach my younger kids. I started teaching them. I had a skeleton in my school, and I get them to understand the bone structure. Name the bones. You learn certain muscle groups. If you start off young learning, kids can just soak this up, and you're never too old to learn.
Yeah. So we had a 67-year-old woman, Martha Stone, that was on our show, and she just started taking martial arts after she was able to reverse her heart conditions and everything due to changing her diet. And she's actually in the gym with us, Martha, if you watch. She's at Welcome All Gym with us. She works out with us, and she's starting to take martial arts. So I don't think it's ever too late to get in there and get.
Now I'm gonna say something here that's just, it may be controversial, may not. See, stretching is bad. All martial art people think they need to stretch. And you don't need to stretch.
Really?
You don't. If you have an injury, you torn a muscle, or you've been down, you need to elongate it. And the word elongation is better than stretching, but most people want to stretch. Now, for example, if I take your arm and you let me control you and just drop it and give me the weight of your arm, I'm going to take your arm and I'll move it all the way over here. See how far I can move it, and your arm is where? Almost in front of your left shoulder, right?
Right.
Now I want you to do that. Don't pull on nothing. Just
on
its own. So you can't get over. You can't get past under your body. If you could move your arm over there by itself, you would tear it up. It would be dislocated.
So you're not supposed to do that.
You're not supposed to.
I do this stretch all the time where I take this and do all that with it.
When we see athletes that have joint injuries, it's because what the ligaments and muscle around that joint is loose, and so it can come apart. So that's one of the main causes. Because like the rotated cuff has to do what? Stabilize the arm and keep it from dislocating. So if I can move my arm over to my left shoulder, I would have to tear it up to do that. But now I can relax it and I can force it over here, you know, and stretch the ligaments and stuff. But in a real world situation, you can't do that.
And I just want to say, you have to realize that his actual instructor is like the guy that all the phrases that he says has been coined. He coined the actual term Grandmaster. I was asking him, Chief Master, Grandmaster. He told me his instructor is the one who created the term Grandmaster. I mean, just to give you some background of where he gets his, you know, where he got his foundation from. So if he ain't the man, he's next to the man. And I mean, well, now he is the man. So I mean, so yeah. So I just wanted to make that clarification. So we got about we got about 5 minutes left. Is there any actual moves or something that you want to give us? Maybe it's just one thing that we can practice, or if it's one exercise or a few exercises that we might need to practice to get us in shape or something. What do you have for us?
Well, let's say that someone is attacking you and you need to go with this. This is the technique will work regardless if you laying down, standing up, whatever. So it's a thing of more of opportunity. You don't want to fight or struggle or panic fight. You know, opportunity is always going to present itself. So we only have 3 techniques that we use, and we want to hit the face, the groin area, and the throat. And it's almost like playing volleyball. And so you want to use the flat up, open the palm, and just use the palm. Now you have to understand human movement and how the body's going to react, which is very simple. So I'm going to bring you a little closer to me, and I'm going to apologize to you now.
No, wait a minute. Not the groin.
This your show. No. This your show. Now, TV Land's watching.
I'm so scared. Man.
I'm not going to do it real hard. I'm going to explain as I do it.
Real hard.
But he told me he was going to be my partner. I ain't had to bring anybody.
And I actually I sent y'all the tweets and everything. I said he was going to whip my tail. And as you see, I did not lie. My tail has been whipped. So come on with it.
So the first thing we want to do, we want to take the palm and like you want to smack down. Like you smacking a volleyball. So and you want the fingers to hit the eye. So I want to hit it, my palm hit him on the bridge of the nose, fingers hit him in the eye.
You see I broke this before. Now look how fat it is.
Yeah, I broke mine too. So basically you want to hit it, so you want him to be disoriented. This is his computer. So if I just come down and hit him in the face, his eyes water, he smells blood. So the first thing he wants to do is grab his face, open his legs, and move back. So just grab your face, open your legs, and move back. Because he needs to maintain balance. So the wider his legs, the more stable he's going to be. So at this point from the hit, I want to slap him in the groin.
Whew, I'm scared.
Just slap the groin there. Now, most people think when you get hit in the groin that you double up and you lean forward. The body moves away from pain. So if I kicked him in the groin, see how he stuck his neck out? Automatic. So now if the neck's sticking out, just take your fingers and hit him in the throat. Now, depends on the angle that you hit. You can break the hyoid bone. He swallows his tongue, suffocates.
I just took it slow.
You that's a lot of things. So you only need 3. So if he grabbed my wrist, you know, if it's female or male, you can turn the same thing. 1, 2, 3. If it's laying down, whatever. So, you know, once you disrupt his computer, once you hit him in the face, he's blind. He can't see nothing.
I didn't want to open my eyes.
And you know, so you just rake the eyes. You know, his eyes are watering. So for him not to fall down, he's going to open his legs up. At that time, the testicles fall to the center of the body. They're designed to fall to the center. So now you slap him testicles. You know, try to knock him up his throat. Then when his neck goes out, he exposes his neck. That gives you a clear shot. Now, this is like no force to lethal force. You know, that's your choice. We don't say fight. We don't say not to fight. That's your choice. If submitting to something, you think that will save your life, then submit. You didn't do anything wrong. That person did.
And that goes in my brief stench of Jeet Kune Do, and that's what you're told. It's an intro. It's a method to a fight or whatever. And what you want to do is maim, distract, you know, and you know, I don't know the third one. I can't even remember, and that's what basically what he did is distracting and kind of maiming me at the same time. Right. So you can't think properly once your nerves have been rattled like that, you know. And he didn't really do it hard, honestly, but just that right there, it's just like he said, it's gonna make you do certain things.
Right.
And notice everything he's attacking is also the center line, which is where everything is the weak is at, and where you naturally want to protect. That's why I naturally stuck out and everything. So okay, so you say right here, groin, neck. All right. Well, man, I just want to thank you for whipping my tail. I really appreciate it.
I enjoyed it.
I'm sure you enjoyed it too. I know that's what y'all been wanting, because y'all always talking about run my mouth too much. So I know y'all been waiting for this. So look, we appreciate you coming out. We appreciate y'all being with us. I'm not sure we're gonna do next week, as you always know. I never know what's gonna happen, but I always say the same thing. I promise you there's gonna be something magnificent. So we're gonna definitely have this brother come back out to our community and give us more insight. He gonna have to bring somebody else for the next installment, because I know it's gonna get rougher. I don't know if I can take no more. But hey, I'm going to the school. I don't know about y'all, but I'm going to the school. Could you just give us a quick the information where your school is located?
My school is located in Fayetteville, Georgia. It's on Highway 314. The building number is 630 Highway 314 in Fayetteville, Suite 1011. You can reach me on my cell phone at 404-861-4944. Or you can go to my website. You can just type in United Martial Science Federation.com or just umsf.net.
If you put Master and then M in Google, his name is going to pop up. Honest to goodness. By the time you put Master and the M word, Sims will be up there, and then you just go to his and just go to the site. And you can also check out, he has a small YouTube demonstration on YouTube. You can see that too, but that wasn't as impressive to me as what just took place just now, because that was all real. I've never met him before, and everything he just did, it really did hurt. I'm not gonna lie to you. I got an older brother that's fool. He probably watching the show right now. I've been tortured my whole life, so I've been taking pain for a long time, and still that hurts. So I'm being dead honest with you. So look, join us next Thursday, 7 p.m. We'll be back. The master, the chief master, Marlin Sims, he will be back. Not next week, but we will be coming back, and we'll let you know ahead of time. So look, I appreciate y'all coming out. Y'all have a good one. We'll see you next time.